get that money, secure that bag, ayy. Boss up, get that money, secure that bag, ayy. Boss up, boss up, boss up, get that money, get that money. She a queen and they love her cause she got her own place, own car, she let go.
Good morning, my beautiful people. It is currently 1:23 in the morning. And as you can see, I'm wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. Y'all ready? All right. It's your girl, Shay Shay. From Simply Magnolias and Honey, just a southern girl. Living life like it's golden. No matter how thick and sticky life gets. Remember, it is still what?
What?
Golden. All right. Y'all, I have a message to show you. I have a message. I don't even know why Emeka is still up. This joker is like, he wide-eyed and bushy-tailed like me. Shoot. I'm about to tell you, he need to get, you better get up in this bed and lay down. What? Get up here and lay down. Come on here. Get up here and lay down. All right, so today's message is you were not designed to fit in. Okay? Let me repeat that. You were not designed to ever fit in. Shay, what you mean? Like, I want to have friends. I understand that. I hear you very clear. I do. But just follow me, okay? All right. Let's take this back to childhood, right? You know, with every present moment, there is a beginning. So just like the times that we're in right now, everything that's happening around the world, in order to really dissect and understand what is happening in today's present moment, economically, with the judicial system, the law system, spiritually, the physicalities and stuff that's around you physically, stuff that you can touch, things that are starting to come into fruition that you that normally are in the spiritual realm that you really not supposed to see, but they've been making themselves very aware lately. And then in the future tense. But in order to understand the present, like what is going on in the present and what will happen and what is to come, you have to understand the history, his story, the earth's story as to what the world went on before you were even created. Ooh, Shay, you talking deep. No, I'm not really. But so just like you, to really truly, just like, okay, say for instance, you see somebody, right? And you've been dating them, talking to them, new friendship, new relationship, new co-workership, new whatever. And just normally you will see them act a certain way, but then next you see them jokers spaz out or something like that. And you're like, oh, what the world? Like, for me, I don't ever judge somebody's like future or how they are overall as a person just off of their moment. Now, if there's any type of consistency with it, then there's still a problem there. Okay. So it's best not to judge somebody because you never know what their beginning was. And that reverts back to what? Their childhood. A lot of us adults, like I said, if you've been on this earth over 25 years, 35 years, you pushing 40, A lot of us have a lot of embedded, deep down, suppressed emotions that ever so often you see them jokers try to rise up out your throat, and you're like, let me push that joker way back down there, because I don't want nobody to know about that. And overall it tries to come up, but you keep suppressing it down. There's something that's still hidden inside of you that you need to acknowledge, you need to face, and you need to deal with it, right? A lot of times when people act the way that they do, there are some unhealed childhood traumas that they did not face yet. And 9 times out of 10, they're scared to face it. So now people like, oh, at your age, you too grown for that. You too old for that. Well, how are you to say that to them when technically a lot of us had to grow up very quickly? Okay. Like me having a child at 16, 17 years old, there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to do that I could not participate in simply because I had to grow up very quickly. Mom was like, oh, you got a baby now. That man ain't with you. He's not with you no more. So you gotta do everything now. Get your tail out there and go get a job, because this ain't my baby. It's yours. Like, you made the decision to do that. So a lot of times when I saw my friends, they out there partying, doing, going to college and experiencing the college life, and, just being able to do whatever it is that they want to, I was grinding at work for this baby. And so I had to learn very quickly, very fast, on what it is. And I've had, and I had to, learn what it meant to be an adult now. That window back there dirty, ain't it? Lord have mercy. Your makeup been putting his little fingers all on my glasses. But anyway, I'll deal with that later. But anyway, so this the thing. In order to really understand who somebody is, it is best that you connect with their childhood too. When you're getting to know somebody, just I've had to learn this too. Like, don't be so quick to want to jump into, oh, what are your goals? What are your long-term goals? Be like the little Steve Harvey, think like a man and all that type craziness. Oh, well, what are your long-term goals? What are your short-term goals? Well, listen. What was your relationship with your daddy if you was a man? What was your relationship with your mother if you were a girl? And vice versa. Mother to son, daughter to daddy, and then son to son, daughter to daughter, or daughter to mother. I know what I'm talking about. What was y'all's relationship? What type of discussions were talked about in your household? Did y'all talk about sex? Did y'all talk about money? Did you talk about investing? Did you talk about, did your parents ever were transparent with you? Did they ever say, as a child, I went through X, Y, and Z, and I felt like da 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 da. So as a parent, forgive me that, sometimes, things from my childhood may come up, and I don't know a lot. Like, there's times I've had to ask my children for forgiveness because being a young mother, no one ever gave me the manuscript. No one ever told me, okay, yeah, even though as a young mother, you would think people were like, all right, Shay, look, this what you do, this what you don't do. No, I was not told anything, but you better go take care of that baby. What the world does that even mean? Keep your credit right. What does that mean? Make sure my baby got milk, diapers, clothes on her back. That's it. That's all it takes. Oh, all right. I think I can do that. Hell, I think so. But the dynamic of it all, I never actually had a conversation with my mom and said, Mom, what kind of childhood did you have? Why were you raised X, Y, and Z? Well, when you were little, what did you think love was? Or, I never, at 37 years old, I've never had conversations with my mother about her childhood. Now, according to my birth certificate, because my mom never discussed him at all, my mother was 22 years old and my dad was only 19. He was still a teenager. He was still a kid. So how can you put so much pressure? And by that time, Joker already had another baby already. I have an older sister. We exactly daggone, what, a year? Share what? We daggone there a year apart. So that means by the time this Joker was like 17, 18, he done already had another baby already. And then boom, here come me a year later. A year and a month later, whatever. So again, that goes back to the last video where I posted, how can you put a prerequisite on somebody when you're not even fulfilling the need for yourself? You are of a certain age, but you're requiring somebody that's still in the mental state of a child, a teenager, to act a certain way pertaining to children or whatever the case is, right? So, but anyway, no one ever taught me how to be a mom. No. So a lot of times I find myself like sounding just like my mother. Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my gosh, I sound just like her. Y'all listen, please forgive me. And then I don't want to bring like that. Oh, that's toxic. No, it's called healing. Because sometimes you don't really understand the factor of why you act a certain way when you've been around it all your life. You don't really comprehend that it's wrong. And still you start seeing the effects on your children. You're like, oh my gosh, y'all forgive me. I don't know what the world going on. But all I know is I'm sorry. And when you can actually face yourself and stop being in denial that you're the best parent or your kids will never do this and your kids will never do, stop that. So for me, again, when it comes to especially being in the industry that I'm in, as far as like public speaking, being an author, having to dig deep down into my emotions to reminisce or rehearse a certain situation to then bring forth it and put it on paper. That takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of digging. That takes a lot of like self-reflection. That takes a lot of time of like analyzing like that. Am I in the wrong? Was I this? Was I that? Well, how was I feeling back then? What emotions played on my psyche back then? Because now that I'm older and, at whatever age that was, my mindsets have changed. And so now I have a different definition of what that particular topic or whatever I'm talking about is, right? Okay. So it brings me to this point right here. When it comes down to trying to fit in, it all boils that back down. That's why I brought up the childhood stuff first, right? Because it all boils down to how you were treated as a child. Were you accepted? Were you loved? Were you rejected? Were you ever bullied? Were you but were you ever sexually assaulted? Both ways. It don't matter. It don't matter. Did you go through an identity crisis where you didn't even realize, like, you never really understood who it was that you were meant to be? You were always in some type of a confused state because you always listen to other people on who they think that you need to be. 9 times out of 10, when you go to school, you in school with these teachers 8 hours a day. Your child in front of these teachers 8 hours a day. They are indoctrinating your child with the ways of the matrix and the ways of the government on how they want you to be a robot. Plain and simple. They don't teach being free thinking. They don't teach, freedom of speech. They don't teach being an entrepreneur. They don't teach how to manage money. They don't teach, if you can't manage your money in cash, then your child definitely don't need it on daggone no credit. And if it is on credit, is it going to result in an ROI and a return on your investment? Like if I use business credit to go towards a rental property, or I want to put a car underneath my business name, they don't teach you all that. They teach you how to be a robot. So now the school, the public school system, school system, all they're doing is teaching you the ways of the world, and you were never designed to be part of the world. God says, come out of the world. Come out of her. That means her thinking. The ways of the world. Come out of the way of the world and their thinking. Their habits, their these so-called holidays and all that food, man. Like, I stopped celebrating Christmas like maybe 4 years ago. But being that you have grandparents, they be like, well, Santa. Mom, stop that. We don't do no Santa Claus up in here no more. Because the way that I've been busting my tail for them, man, Santa Claus ain't doing nothing. Stop giving that joker credit for nothing. Stop it. And then, the only time of the year where you get to spend time with your man, stop playing. And then on top of that, like, you go to work, same setup. Well, that's a pyramid scheme. That's the first thing that just came to my mind just now. Somebody saying that the school system is a pyramid scheme. The freaking government owned, which is nothing short of a daggone corporation, president, vice president, X, Y, and Z, all the way down to the line, all the way down to the bottom. That's a daggone pyramid scheme. Your freaking job is a daggone pyramid scheme. The whole freaking matrix is a daggone pyramid scheme. So therefore, when you're going about this life and you are trying to find yourself from childhood, they've been teaching you how to write. Oh no, baby, you can't put it in this hand, put it in that hand. No, this, you see kids holding their pencil like something like that sometimes, or they'll hold it like this, and they're like, no, that's not how to write. You got to hold it like this, the proper way. Says who told you that? Oh, well, you can't wear your hair a certain style because that's considered ghetto. That's considered, from childhood, you've been taught that your hair is a certain, because it's a certain texture. Oh, it's considered this. And oh, because you're darker skinned. Oh, you're what man? From childhood, you have been indoctrinated into believing that you were never good enough. When it comes down to when they do sports, and I understand, yes, you want your best players and stuff like that, but when you have little Bobby Sue, she want to play, she may be whatever size, whatever, she may be of another type of thinking process. I'm not gonna put no labels on nobody. Them babies don't get picked. They're always sitting on the sidelines. Or, they post your name on the hallway talking about something, those who made it. If your name is on the board, then that means you made it, yada, yada, and everybody, ooh, yeah. And then the person who walk up there, they walk up like all sad because they didn't make it. You have been conditioned that you're not good enough, which is okay, fine. Sometimes you got to accept the fact that maybe, ma'am, sir, maybe your child's not good enough at this particular sport, this particular activity, but won't you test the waters? Put them in other things. Don't just say because he a black little boy, he only got to play football and basketball. Put that little joker in the STEM projects. Put that little joker in some robotics. Give him a skateboard. Does he know how to ride a bike? Does he know how to swim? What about hockey? What about badminton? What about lacrosse? What about what about other things? What about other things that do not have a stereotype with them based off of somebody's color? So as a child, you were already conditioned that, especially if you, like my school, majority of my school was pretty mixed. I mean, we had black, white, Spanish, mixed people. When we had Indian, like we had pretty much everybody. That's what I love about, like when I went to elementary school and high school and stuff like that, everybody was pretty much like, I had black, white. I had all type of friends. I was friends with the goths. I was friends with the preps, the cheerleaders, because I was a basketball player. All of them, football players, all that. But there are some of us who, if you are a person of that color and you go to an all school, it's like you are socially being conditioned to kind of act a certain way, and vice versa. So as childhood, your childhood plays a huge role with how you're going to act as an adult. And as a child, it's like it's kind of hard from them, because that's, between the ages of like 1 and 5 is where your brain literally, a child's brain sucks up so much information already. And then from the moment of 5, from 1 to 5 they learn all that stuff from home. So whatever you teaching your child, look at him. I told you, he like me. When he gets sleepy, he just wanted to start. But anyway, but as a child, it's like from 1 to 5, you need to be making sure, what's your name? How old are you? Let's count. A, B, C. What color is this? So all that stuff you're supposed to learn at home. Oh, you taking your diaper off now? Oh, all right. So anyway, my children just walked in the room telling us, can we sit? Can we watch a movie? Y'all, it is 1:49 in the morning. Take y'all tails to bed. Shoot. My back is hurt. Oh. Okay, so back to what I was saying. I'm getting to the... Oh, shoot, what did I just do? Oh, I'm getting to the real message in a minute. So, as a child, though, everything starts there. Turn this on. Everything starts there. Sometimes you do have to teach your children that it's okay to be different. It is okay to not be like everybody else. And especially when you are different. There we go. Especially when you are different and you think differently, you talk differently, you are like, again, such as I was bullied like in elementary school and middle school. No one ever really teaches you that it's okay to be different. Which brings me to this point right here. I had a dream the other night. And in this dream, now everything that I just told you is gonna basically coincide with everything that I'm about to tell you now. I had a dream that I was in a room. There was like this big old desk, and it had like it almost looked like the American Idol type setup. Like there's like, I guess I was standing in front of this desk, and this desk had like 2 to 3 chairs, but the chairs were empty. I can feel the presence of a whole, like a crowded room, like a circle room of all the seats were being filled, right? But even though I could not see anyone, my name was being called on like a intercom type thing. It, like every so often it would say, Shayla, Shayla. And I'm like, who the world is calling me? And I would look down at the chairs would still be empty. Everybody around me would just be like, I could feel the stares on me, but nobody was saying anything. Shayla. I'm like, what the world? So I woke up and I was like, Spirit, what the world did that mean? Like, why are people calling my name and I can't see them? Spirit say this. I'm about to put you in rooms where people know you, but you don't know them. There are people who know your name. You do not know them, but they're about to be literally like a huge part of your life. Doesn't matter if they like you. Doesn't matter if they look like you. Doesn't matter if they talk like you, have the same background as you. They know who you are, but you just don't know them. And your name is being called. You are next. Well, I thought I was about to have a fit. I said, called for what? Spirit? What you mean? Okay, so you know the process of like ghost writing, right? Or like a ghost investor. There's a major project where there's a main like co-captain, like a main captain, right? And okay, say there's me. And the major project is I'm trying to build a ship, right? But the ghost investor would be the person that I probably never met. All I did was I put the GoFundMe out there, I put the project out there, I put the proposal out there, what have you. And these ghost people saw it. And they're like, oh, well, yeah, I see the significance behind the idea. I see the fact that where, I see the overall idea to this. And I see that, it'll have a huge ROI on it. So guess what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop 50,000 on it. I've never met the person a day in my life. Don't even have to see this person. All I know is that their check cleared out and their check cleared. Okay. And now I'm going to use that check to go towards the main project. You are the main project. You. Okay? You are the main project. And there are some people out there that have been calling your name, and your name has been brought up in rooms in whom you've never met nobody in that room. You don't even see nobody in that room. And guess what? They want to invest into you. You are next. Your name is being called next. God said, I will make your name great. Now, remember a while back, what did I tell y'all the word name means? The word name means your character, right? You have displayed integrity. You have kept your morals. You ain't fight back when you ain't pop off on nobody when you probably had every right to do so. You kept your status, however y'all want to pronounce it. You so many times you wanted to fight back. So many times you wanted to cuss somebody out. So many times you wanted to knock their head clear off their daggone head. So many times you just, you wanted to come out of your care, but you didn't. So Spirit says, Shay, but guess what? Your name finna be great. God says he will make your enemy your footstools. Your footstool. Wow, what do I mean by that? When it came down to my divorce and my marriage, right? It was almost like I was God and the enemy were working hand in hand. Again, because the enemy does not do anything without God's permission, first of all. Okay? So what I mean by this is this. Everybody talks about like relationships and, divorce is this and da da da. Everybody has their own like little interpretation, but the major thing was God talked about like, marriage is one of the first institutions, that was put together. And the only way really to really have a divorce is either by, adultery, infidelity, or, somebody daggone, beating you upside your head every single day. But, so the enemy approached God and said, hey, can I go mess with so-and-so? God said, go ahead. Because I got a bigger plan for her anyway. So the enemy, thinking he was doing something, tempted this person. This person did what they wanted or felt whatever they felt like they needed to do. That in turn gave me the way out and allowed me to become free to be me, and then set me on a path on which I am on a journey of rebirth, a journey of getting to know who it is that I really, really am from the beginning, right? God's going to allow the enemy to partake in your success to a certain degree if you follow what I'm trying to say. Meaning, a lot of people that hate upon you, a lot of people that talked about you, they lied on you, they try to pin certain things on you, and they talked behind your back, getting other people to try to follow in their little shenanigans or whatever. And lo and behold, for real, for all they doing is making you more popular. All they're doing is putting your name more and more up on the more and more are they making your name great without really even having to do anything. All they are doing is putting you further and further out there, because now that's building curiosity. People are like, well, hold on, you talk about this person quite often, but I don't ever see. I went to that person page, I saw that person out in public, and I don't ever see her acting like that. I don't ever see dude acting like that. So you know what, I'm getting kind of suspicious now. So that person go to your page, they start to kind of put two and two together on who they think that you are. And guess what? They came to their own conclusion. They're like, hold on, something don't sound right, because it's like you stalking this person or something. You don't necessarily have to understand what's going on behind closed doors. You don't always have to know who doing what. Where did this come from? Just out of the blue, stuff just start falling. That dream hit me so hard where I was like, oh my gosh, Spirit, for real. My name is being talked about in rooms in which I don't even know folk. Whatever I've been doing, aka these YouTube videos, posted on social media, and then it just in just the simple fact of people who I've met in person through my job, or just running my mouth in daggone Target or Target, Walmart, Marshalls or something. Just running my daggone mouth, for real. So, my message to you is this: never stop doing what you got to do. Always stay true to you, because your name is about to be mentioned on the microphone. Your name is about to be mentioned in rooms whom you've never even stepped foot in. Your name, and because of your name, aka your character, you're about to get presented with proposals and deals and contracts and being connected with folk whom you've never met, and they don't all have to look like you either. Opportunities being presented to you. And in most cases, you're not even qualified for some of these things. But you're qualified spiritually because you kept your integrity. You kept your morals. You kept your... It's one thing, like, lately, especially for me, like, my daggone dreams have been talking so loud. And some of them I have dreams of, like you see what time it is? This is the normal time that I'd be up. I'm probably about to be up for another 2-3 more hours, because I was in the bed literally all day yesterday, just chilling, resting up. Because that's another thing. Like, right before your glow up, you're about, like I told you the last video, you're about to be you're gonna go from overlooked to overbooked. And right before your season of glow up, right before your season of, like, man, it's gonna pop off, you need to rest your mind. You need to rest your mind, your body, your mental state. Make sure you are on one accord with what Spirit wants you to do. And you're not going too far outside of the yellow brick road, Dorothy. And, you just keep yourself grounded. You don't, just basically staying true to yourself, right? And it's so crazy because me and the kids were just watching Space Jam. A lot of messages in that too. But one in particular is this. This is the LeBron James version. The son was into video games and loved the tech side of being in design. At 12 years old, designed this video game. And LeBron, he been basically groomed from childhood up to be this perfectionist in the NBA. The oldest son was, oh yeah, you need to be like this, you need to be like that, blah, blah, blah. Basically comparison. You need to be like this because he practices every day. He does this and he does that. Well, good for him. But Dom, on the other end, is a tech nerd. Like, he a game nerd. That's what he really loves to do. So, the algorithm in the game was like, oh, well, we can help you, the enemy. We can help you get what you want by trying to basically, like, overthrow your dad, so to speak, because there's a motive, there was an intention there. He had an agenda. So therefore, it wasn't until the middle of the game. Well, before that, the son was like, you never allowed me basically to just be me. I'm not gung ho on no daggone basketball. I don't love the sport like you do. So why do I have to follow in your footsteps? That's not what I want to do. That joker did not get the fact that his son will not be like him until halfway through the middle of the game, when the algorithm algae turned around and used the very thing that he hated, which was them games and stuff, and played it against him to really truly see who his son was meant to be. So you have this dad playing in a game that he hated, that was designed by his own son in order for him to see who his child really was. That's crazy, right? So it wasn't until he played in this game that he really and then on top of that, he tried to do the same things with the tunes. Each and every single one of the tunes had their own superpowers that they were going to bring to the table. But LeBron was trying to basically force his logic onto them to win the game. But when they went on to the halftime or whatever, in the locker room, he was like, well, we're not winning. He said, because y'all not doing basically what I want you to do. And, then he finally comes to the conclusion, like, light bulb goes off. And he was like, well, Dad, that's because, you're not using your own abilities and your own gifts for us to win. So then that's when he came to the conclusion, no. The Tasmanian devil, he had a need for speed. Lola, she can use her beauty. Freaking what's the little Porky Pig. Then you had Sylvester the cat. Then you had Tweety Bird. Then you had the redhead the little wabbits. Him. You had him. Then you had you had everybody coming to the table with their own personalities and their own powers or whatnot. Finally, he was able to use those, allow everybody to come up to use their own to eventually win. When you try to control people and control certain situations, it never work out. It don't. It's best that you just go about your business, allow people to be them. And eventually LeBron ended up telling his son, listen, I'm sorry I didn't allow you to be you. But when I was a childhood traumas, it was basically like, I wouldn't say, well, yeah, it was forced upon him to be this perfectionist. He lived, ate, breathed basketball. That was all he was basically shown to do, whether he wanted to do it or not. And and like I told my daughter, I said, man, I would never force my kids to do anything that they don't want to do. If somebody wants to be a sculptor and playing Play-Doh all day, playing with Play-Doh, whatever, clay all day, and if you can make, and your gifts and talents allows you to profit off of that and make a living, baby, go ahead, clay up. The second oldest, my daughter, she wants to be a gymnast. Like, she loves gymnastics, flipping over all them daggone balance beams, and it started from childhood. She used to flip around. My ex used to just flip her, letting her to climb all up on the shoulders, and she used to flip off. I'm like, but that's something that she loves to do. Who am I to tell this child, oh, you're too old now to doing gymnastics? Who am I to tell her that? She's literally a natural protege. This woman called her, you are just a natural. Keep doing what you're doing. God finna make your name great. Because you allowed for your name never to become tainted with the validations and opinions and opinions of everybody else. Had I listened to some folk telling me, oh girl, leave them things alone, leave them dreams alone, or you ain't gonna never do this, you ain't gonna everything you do this, da 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 da. Man, if I allowed them jokers to do that, and if I sit back and I look at your life, and I'm sitting here looking like the way you living over there, I don't know, I'm free to be me. I'm gonna think what I want. And because I think what I want, and because I decided to, put my thoughts on vlogs and stuff like this, my name is finna be made great. And that's a part of me where I have to learn to let go. Because, like, let go of, like, the control of, again, it all started from childhood. Having to learn how to control the fact of, like, I'm a teenage mother now. I have to make sure my baby eat, make sure my baby got diapers, make sure my baby blah, 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 blah. My mom make sure, get her back and forth to daycare. Whatever. Like, I had to play a role. I had to play both sides of the role. And so after that, so basically after that, it was like, I've literally kind of been in control this whole time. And even when I was married, I was always the dreamer per se. I was always the one with the big imagination. I was always the one coming up with different ways that we can make money to, stay afloat or whatever. And he had, like, the job type mentality or whatever. So sometimes I had to, like, take control. Like look, we gotta get there. We had to make some stuff happen. Shoot, for real. And so now, Spirit just reminded me, like, Shay, don't worry about nothing. Your help is coming by people whom you don't know, folk you ain't never met. I feel like I got a booger, sorry. But folk you've never met. You about to be put in rooms. Your name is being mentioned. Once again, being mentioned by people whom you don't even know. You don't know who is sitting back watching your videos. They may not subscribe. They may not comment. They might not, they might not even like it. But they've taken So it's like this. Keep doing what you're doing. You never know who's watching. You never know who's taking notes, taking notes about you. Like, man, like, she went through this. Like, I have not told my full story. Unless it was in my first book, Humble Pie. Like, those are bits and pieces. But this next one. Grab your popcorn. It's finna get real. But because I stayed true to myself, because I decided not to retaliate back, and that's in all aspects, because I decided to not run my mouth, because I decided that I was not gonna seek revenge. God said vengeance is mine, right? All right. Basically, vengeance is mine. Basically, like, karma ain't no joke. And karma don't always happen right away. So, for some folk, they thinking they get away with stuff. That's why they got cut off. Because you being the person that you are, you were given a little bit of an insight on how that person really is. So once you cut them off, it's like they thought that they were being okay for now. And then it was like all of a sudden, it's like life hit them like crazy. First with the job, maybe then becomes stress on relationships. Then maybe you and your partner might be fighting more often because now your money's slipping because you don't have no money because you don't have no job. Stuff on the verge of being repossessed, eviction, and all that other type of stuff because you don't have a job. And then it's like, well, yeah, well, if it wasn't for you, then here comes the blame game. If it wasn't for you, well, you did this, did that, and causing more issues and turmoil and chaos within your home. So now your place of sanctuary, your safe haven has now been jeopardized, compromised. So now you sitting on the back, you sitting in your car because you don't feel like going in the house. All because you chose to do somebody that is a chosen person wrong. And a person regardless. But your consequences are going to be even more because of the fact that that person is who they are. So, and then next you know, that person will call you like, oh, well, I'm going through this and that, I lost it, that. And you sit back like, oh, that's crazy. I don't have any sympathy or empathy for you. I mean, yeah, empathy, yes, because I've been there, done it. I've gone through some certain things. But that's because the longer you stay with somebody who's not, that no longer serves you, you end up going through their karma too. So a lot, and karma could be from stuff that they've done to people. Spirit could have been told you a long time ago to drop somebody off, leave them alone, stop talking to them, da 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 da. And then next, you start seeing that your life starts to go down and drain. You're like, what the? Because of the fact that you were supposed to leave them a long time ago, you always like, why is it that every time, like since I've been with you, my life has been nothing short of like disastrous because you suffering the same karma that person going through. The minute you break away, you will start noticing how good your life got. And again, the minute I like, listen, I don't like speaking, putting somebody down or whatever the case is, but the minute I walked away, I felt like my life has gotten like so much more smoother. And at this point, certain people in my life, I had to cut them off because they were part of the problem too. I had to cut them jokers off too. And I started noticing that their life started going to shit. and you sitting back wondering like, dang, I'm so glad I walked away, because if I didn't walk away, I'd be going through the same thing as you. But at the same token, though, you were their shield, like their covering. But the minute you walk away, pew, that slingshot flew back. And everything that they were supposed to get, they getting it. It's not going to happen all at the same time, though. It's going to happen like one thing at a time. Or, depending on who you was, it's going to go, like, it's literally going to, listen. But, it's 2:21 now. And I got 8% on my daggone battery. So, that is the message. I just happened to just like remember, I was sitting there thinking out, and I was watching TikTok. Y'all know me in the little ticky to the talk. And I was just sitting there watching, and this girl or this lady, she was like, you know what? She was like, your bloodlines are about to change, because you decided to basically break them generational curses from everybody else that was before you. They didn't break them. So everything now has gotten passed on to you. But since you've been doing your inner work, you've been praying, you've been reading, you've been meditating, you've been, digging deep and doing your ear. Hey, I just saw my little flash of light, a little orb. But because you've been doing your inner work, because you've been doing your soul searching, searching your soul about stuff, and asking spirit, like, reveal to me what is not like me, reveal to me on characteristics that do not belong to me. Some of us have taken on characteristics in roles and personalities that do not belong to us. They've just been passed down. Like you be having these random thoughts. Now you know them thoughts are not yours. Y'all know that, right? You do understand that. Sometimes you can have thoughts and ideas that your previous people bloodlines have maybe came up with, but nobody ever executed it. So all of a sudden it gets dropped down on you. All the thoughts, your hurts, your pains, your insecurities, some of those they might not even be for you or for about you, but they've been passed down to other people. So curses that have been spoken over other people's lives within your bloodline are now passed on to you, and you sitting there looking like, hold on, what? So now that you are walking in your character, you're walking in your abilities, you're walking in your authority, you're walking in your power, you're walking in your moment of becoming, you are literally changing your bloodline. You are literally changing, and literally, like, you are castrating from the very pits of your being of who they were. You're like, oh, hell no. I'm not going to bring that into this lifetime, right? I'm not going to bring that into my bloodline. So everything that has ever came to me from, passed down from my great Medea, all the way from grandpa or whoever, all the way up until this very moment right now. Nope. Everything that has been passed. And I asked Spirit, I said, reveal to me what generational curses have been passed on to me. Divorces. Children not being seen for who they are, and children who are being born out of wedlock, and children who don't get to see raised in not a two-parent household, like all these different things that are being passed down to you. Now, granted, of course, before you even really start to recognize your generational curses, you could be living in that. Children born out of wedlock, children born in a non-two-parent household, yes, but the next phase of your life, you can meet the woman of your dreams, the man of your dreams, and then that becomes a two-parent household. Boom, done. Generational curse broken. Boom. Y'all get married. Boom. You become, you become your husband, your woman motivates you to go to the next level. So then you become the first one to go to college, finish college, get your degree. You become the first one in your family to start a business, a successful business. You become the first one to become a millionaire. And then on top of that, man, then you become the first one to travel the world and go to all these different countries, and you breaking generational curses. And then it goes deeper than what just the physical things of you going and traveling. It boils down to the intellect. the heart portion of you. People like, oh, well, when they talk about sins and stuff like that, oh, you committed adultery, oh, you're a liar, or you committed murder, or they're talking about all the things that you can basically see. But what about the stuff that you can't see? What about the jealousy? What about the envy? What about the unforgiveness? What about, those heart sins that people feel like, oh, the greed? What about the heart sins of, my phone about to die at 5%. But what about the stuff that you harbor so deep in your soul? You want revenge. You jealous of somebody. You like all the stuff that's held deep down in here. What about that stuff? That's generational curses too. Break it. Come to the realization that you may hold selfishness. Come to the realization that you hold some of these things deep down inside of you, and face them jokers and then fix it. If you really want to change your life, then change your life and stop playing. Because who's to say when your last day gonna be here? Maybe last day to be here in the physical at that. All I know is once you come to the where was that? Once you come to the realization that you have the power to change your bloodline, baby, I'm really trying to figure out, like, do y'all realize how much power you really harbor within you? I didn't understand it at first. I didn't understand who it was that I was until I really started to really dig deep, like, who in the living daylights am I? And when those dreams start to kind of flood my mind, like stuff that I had, and then like I've been seeing these people in my dreams, like I've never met you a day in my life, but you're like you popping up out of nowhere. But I feel like that I've known you. Like this old white lady walked into McDonald's the other day, and I kept staring at her. It was so weird. I was like, where? I said, Spirit, where I know that lady from? She had a bag and it had like metaphysical type stuff. It had like the chakras lined up on her, and like my baby's snoring like I don't know what. Take this hot tail blanket off him. He's sweating. But I looked at this lady. I said, lately I've been looking at people and I be feeling like I know them from somewhere. But I can't ever figure out where though. But I don't think it's from this lifetime. But like, what you trying to say? You reincarnating over here? Listen, that's a whole nother subject. We're not going to talk about that today. But just like this guy, like I keep telling y'all about this guy on freaking TikTok. I be feeling like I know him, like we've met before. I feel like the minute I first saw him, yeah, he's a very attractive guy, but that's not okay. Yes, that's the first thing that I noticed. But then Spirit was like, there's more to him than you think. I said, what? And I was like, what that is? And he say, look into that man's eyes. The next video he posts, look into his eyes. And I'll tell you, just like surface stuff. I said, oh my gosh. And then that's when like I really start to have like these dreams about like the ancient Egypt type dreams. I haven't had anything lately. I be having like day visions or like daydreams. I have them where he'll pop up. Or like as soon as I close my eyes sometimes, I see myself running to him like in another realm, like this like space looking type realm. So pretty. So beautiful over there. But you have more power inside of you than you think. It's like you were designed. You have more power than you think. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's it. Everybody has their own like little imagination or their own like little interpretation of what they think certain things are. But I'm telling you, God says it even for himself. Your thoughts are not your thoughts, nor your ways my ways. Like there's certain things that you thoughts, different things start popping into your mind. You're like, where the world did that come from? Some of them come from the enemy, and some of them come from him. You sitting there thinking like that, and then that's why, like, a lot of times you go through stuff and you're like, why does it feel like I've done this day before? And you ain't never did the day before. You're like, why does it feel like I've done this exact move before? Like, y'all can't. I don't believe in deja vus. I just believe that our bodies are repeating stuff that we've already done, and it's just a simple fact that, like, we were brought here to complete a mission several times, and who in the last person, whatever time I did not complete the mission the last time, but I'm supposed to be completing it this time. So your brain has basically soaked up all of these thoughts and these memories from times that you were supposed to do before, and then it's like, I keep seeing all these little flashing of lights everywhere. But it's like your physical body is playing catch up to what your mind has already experienced, right? So sometimes when I can be just doing something random, and in my mind I can see myself doing the exact same motion, but of course different timeline. But it's like, why does it feel like I've done this before? Like, and I would sit there and think like, I've done this before. What was I doing? What like? And I'd be trying to sit there and think like, what was I think? What was my mission then that I did not complete then, that I'm repeating it again? Like, what the world was I supposed to? So I've been asking questions. Who am I? Who is in my who? What persons or people who are within my lineage? Who is my soul tribe? That different people who are going to be sent